Hey floral friends, Beth here, coming to you thanks to the Legacy Amendment from the North Garden here at Como Park Zoo and Conservatory. And we're going to share a very, very sweet story for you today. We're going to talk about the pollination of vanilla, starring our very special vanilla friends here in the North Garden. We're going to talk a little bit about the story of vanilla, the challenges in its travels throughout the world to be one of the most valuable spices, and what it suggests for the future of farming here throughout the world. Let's go take a look. Vanilla has a reputation as being a really plain flavor, but the story behind vanilla is anything but. Vanilla is a genus in the orchid family, and it's found worldwide in tropical and subtropical regions with over 100 species of vanilla. There are three main types of species that are used for commercial purposes though. The flat-leafed or bourbon vanilla, which is what we have here in the conservatory. We have two varieties of it. We also have the Tahitian vanilla as well as the Pompona vanilla. All of these species are native to South and Central America, where they were originally cultivated by the Teutonic people as early as the 13th century or sooner. However, there's been some archaeological evidence suggesting that vanilla worldwide has been a huge commodity as far back as the Bronze Age. There's some pretty amazing connections to how sweet and wonderful it is. So the pods go through a really, really awesome process for harvesting, and you can actually see some of our pods developing up here on the vines. To get that delicious vanilla flavor, they have to go through a special fermentation process to really help build up the chemicals that give us that sweet, mellow flavor that we associate with vanilla. And that process is really specific, and you have to have the right environmental conditions. So to get the delicious, fragrant flavor and aroma of vanilla, the pods had to go through a special fermentation process, which was perfected over many, many years by people. The Aztecs perfected this process and used it to sweeten everything from the royal bitter, savory chocolate drinks of the royalty, all the way to enhancing the flavor of chilies. When Cortez found out about vanilla, he brought it back to Europe with him, and the love of vanilla followed. However, one really important thing didn't. These pods couldn't exist without pollination, and the pollinators didn't come with them. And without pollinators, this story became a lot more difficult. You see, vanilla orchids in the New World are pollinated by the Melipona bee, which is only found in parts of Central and South America. Occasionally, hummingbirds seem to have some evidence of pollinating these orchids as well, but neither of these animals are found anywhere else in the world. Melipona bees are found only in Central and South America, and hummingbirds are exclusive to the Americas. There is no example of hummingbirds in other parts of the world. So for these plants to produce pods, someone was going to have to figure it out. Humans were working for a very long time to try and figure out how to make vanilla after they brought it to other parts of the world. And it was a lot of work, but eventually it was figured out. And the process was perfected by a 12-year-old boy, actually. And from there, the vanilla trade expanded and actually moved from being predominantly in Mexico, where pollinators were present, to in the 1800s, the majority of vanilla started becoming produced in places like Madagascar. Vanilla has since spread all around the world and become a pretty amazing thing, but it's still a lot of work. To pollinate these, humans have to pollinate them by hand. And we've had a chance to see this particular vanilla in this process over quite a period of time here. Earlier in our season, we had a chance to see Jen, one of our amazing horticulturalists, taking care of our vanilla to help it make these beautiful pods. And we'll get a chance to see some of that footage of her pollinating the orchid. So as we switch over to pollination cam, you're able to see the method that Edmund Albius perfected in the mid-1800s that pollinators still use to this day when hand pollinating orchids, including Jen, our horticulturalist. So the key to this is that vanilla orchids don't want to self-pollinate, so they have a special adaptation, a shield, which we're going to separate away from the area, so that now we have access to both the male and female parts in the same area. So now we can press the pollinia, the male part, against the female parts and successfully pollinate our vanilla. If we're successful, You can see those pods are growing so well. They're getting so big. They're not quite fully ripe yet. And if you come to visit us here at the conservatory, you'll still get a chance to take a peek to see how far they've grown. And eventually they'll get to the point where they're ripe enough to harvest. From there, that process to turning them into these browner, crispier pods that help produce that flavor, which then becomes vanilla extract. That's the thing that happens afterward. They don't come off the pods, off the vines looking like that just yet. In the case of vanilla, it takes so much work to get these pollinated, and it's so difficult. It's not like there's an infinite amount of pods that can come off of a single vine, or that vines can grow just anywhere in large quantities. It's not a field of corn, even when it's cultivated. These become incredibly valuable, each of these pods. And as such, vanilla is the second most expensive spice in the world. In fact, not too long ago, the price of vanilla was so much that it was almost worth its weight in silver, which is pretty extreme. The only spice more expensive than vanilla is saffron, which is actually from a flower as well. So now vanilla is a lovely flavor, but at $500 for a kilogram, it's expensive. And the reason it's so expensive is because of the intense amount of human labor that goes into successfully pollinating and cultivating it. And because of that, it's very limited in who can grow it, how it can be grown, and who can get access to it. Now, vanilla's a tasty flavor, but it's not the only thing we need to survive. It's a seasoning, really. But what about our other food? Every food on your table comes from plants or is connected to plants in some way, with very few exceptions. If you eat any vegetables or fruits, pollination needs to happen. And if you eat meat, those animals are probably eating plants that need pollinated. So without pollinators, that whole food system would collapse. And if you think like vanilla, we could replace all of our pollination with human power, think again. It could cost over $200 billion for the pollination service that bees and other invertebrates are providing for free. And we just wouldn't be able to get the access to fresh food that we would need for all of us to be healthy and survive. So it's really, really important that we protect pollinators, because at the end of the day, they're looking out for us more than just our sweet treats. They're looking out for our whole dinner table. And that's really important. Some ways that you can help pollinators, and we've been talking about so many throughout our episodes, and we have so many more throughout our future episodes, but you could really explore ways to avoid the use of pesticides in your garden. By using pesticides that harm insects, you could be harming beneficial insects too. Instead, consider some alternatives, like planting plants that deter harmful insects. You could plant things like garlic, or marigolds even, or even basil. All of those plants not just are interesting additions that would ward off insects, but they're actually all really useful in your kitchen. Even marigold is known as poor man's saffron and can actually be used as a flavoring very similarly to that particular expensive spice. So you can explore those options as well as other ways to help pollinators in your backyard. If you're looking to explore vanilla, on the other hand, maybe try checking out a cool vanilla recipe or some vanilla flavored foods, especially for a little one, to help explore those flavors or scents. If you want to see the progress of our vanilla pods, come and make an appointment to visit us here at the Marjorie McNeely Conservatory so that you can see our lovely vanilla vines, vanilla orchids, and their growth and their progress throughout their season. Thank you so much, and stay tuned to future episodes. Next episode, we're going to talk about the deceptive, dramatic lives of figs. See you there.